First of all, I think welcome to Western Pennsylvania. I hope you
Good.
had a great lunch.
Good to be back in Pennsylvania.
Okay, so I know that you said earlier that you came here with ears to hear and eyes to see.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be willing to sit down with the Floyd family one-on-one?
Certainly we would, and President Trump, of course, spoke to members of the Floyd family and expressed our grief and condolence. What happened to George Floyd was a national disgrace. It shocked the conscience of the nation, and our hearts go out to his family. And as the President described in Dallas yesterday, we're working with members of the law enforcement community. We're working with community leaders like those we spoke to in the Pittsburgh area today to find ways that we can improve policing, that we can give law enforcement officers more resources, more support, more guidance in the proper use of force. But despite what happened on the streets of Minneapolis, and we'll demand that justice is served, I truly do believe that most Americans know that most of the men and women that put on the uniform of law enforcement every day are the best of us. They risk their lives every day to protect and serve our families. And as we go forward, the President and I are going to work, look for ways we can improve law enforcement. We're not going to defund the police. We're going to stand with law enforcement, give them new resources and new tools, and make it more possible for us to come together as a country.
Let me ask specifically on a proposal that the Attorney General from Pennsylvania has been pushing for, and that's a registry on the state level. Would you support, or would the White House support, having a national registry of some of these officers, the ones that do have a documented history of use of excessive force, to essentially keep them from moving from police department to police department?
Well, nobody hates bad cops more than good cops. And one of the things the President and I initiated over the last several weeks was an ongoing dialogue with law enforcement officials across the country. And we're listening to a broad range of recommendations. We'll look at state actions, and the President will be signing an executive order to strengthen accountability and improve policing in the country. But let me be clear, we're not going to stop there. As we said at that church gathering today with many African American leaders in attendance, we want to move on to addressing long-standing inequities that have existed and have placed a burden on our African American communities in many of our major cities. We want safer streets. We also want to give parents the right to choose where their children go to school, and that's why the President again yesterday called for school choice. We want to continue to expand jobs and opportunities. I have to tell you, the President and I couldn't be more proud that because of the policies he advanced since the 2016 election, we had the lowest unemployment ever recorded for African Americans in this country. We created more than 4,000 opportunity zones to generate investment in our inner cities. We're going to build on that record, create more jobs, and even deal with the healthcare disparities. So as we'll listen to proposals around the country, we'll look for ways we can support law enforcement, look for ways to improve and provide resources for the men and women on the thin blue line. But we're also going to work on those long-term historic inequities that have faced our African American communities.
On that note, on the economy and the coronavirus, how do you do the balancing act between making sure that the economy, to lift the economy out of a recession, but at the same time not seeing a significant spike in more coronavirus cases? I mean, you already have states like California and Texas and Florida that have seen some of the highest daily totals of new coronavirus cases. How do you do that balancing act of growing the economy, but not in a way where suddenly we're back to square one, where governors want to shut down the economies again?
Well, from the first moment the President tapped me to lead the White House Coronavirus Task Force, we had one mission, and that was to save lives. And we worked closely with governors around the country, supporting our incredible healthcare workers, make sure that they had the resources and support that they needed to meet the moment. I couldn't be more proud as well that no American who required a ventilator was ever denied a ventilator. We've also expanded testing. More than 22 million tests have already been performed around the country. And some of the increase in cases that you're seeing in states is actually a reflection of a dramatic increase in testing. But we're watching it very closely, and we remain very confident that we have the hospital capacity, we have the resources to be able to deal with any specific outbreaks that could occur. But overall, I think the American people can be encouraged because of the sacrifices that people made, because of the relief that we were able to secure from the Congress on a bipartisan basis, because of the President's guidelines to open up America again. Now all 50 states and our territories are safely reopening. We're moving the nation forward. Even as testing has expanded, the positive tests around the country are still below 8%. We're seeing a steady decline in hospitalizations and, most importantly, a steady decline in fatalities. And I think every American can be encouraged because of what we've all done together, that we're safely reopening and we're going to put America back to work.
Are asymptomatic people still a concern, though? I mean, there was some question with the World Health Organization raising that. Are they still an issue? Are they a concern for people in terms of the spread of COVID-19?
Well, the World Health Organization, I believe, walked back their assertion that asymptomatic people could not spread the coronavirus. And all of our top health experts at the federal level have been very clear to people that the mitigation efforts that we put into effect over those 45 days were predicated on the notion that you could have the coronavirus, not even be aware of it, be asymptomatic, but still convey it to others. And the American people stepped up. They engaged in the social distancing and are still being careful now with personal hygiene. I have to tell you, I couldn't be more proud of the people of this country. We slowed the spread. We flattened the curve, and we saved lives all across this country, and it's because we acted on the very best science.
How do we get back? Okay, I was just going to ask, how do we get back out of a recession, though? I mean, how do you lift, especially in these next couple of months? I know you're going to Oberg Industries later today.
Well, we are coming out of this difficult time already. Last Friday, when many experts were predicting that we would have lost 8 million more jobs across the country, we learned that by the middle of May we'd added 2.5 million jobs. And that's because of the strength, the resilience, the faith of the American people, that we're in the middle of an American comeback. And we absolutely confident, from the coronavirus task force on down, the President and I believe that we can safely reopen, and that's what the American people are doing. Great places like David's Diner are back open, 50% capacity, but I'd give them 100% on that Reuben, and you're seeing Pennsylvania's economy coming back, America's economy coming back, but it's all a result of what the American people were willing to do to put the health of others first. And every day we're one day closer to putting the coronavirus in the past.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate it.